Hey, it's Tree, and I'm back for another video. And today is day 9. Yesterday I called it day 7, but actually it was day 8. It's day 9 today of 100 days of Wakefield comics. So today I spent about 2 hours finishing the line art for page 8 and coloring outfit references for both of Frankie's outfits for chapter 3. And then I finished up the line art for Frankie as the new icon that I want for social media. And today I woke up and I saw a notification on my phone from Twitter, and I thought it was about my account and it was someone saying that they were disappointed, but it wasn't about my comic or anything like that. Which is kind of funny, but Twitter just decided to notify me of a gaming thread about the CallMeCarson situation, which is tragic, but and not tragic for CallMeCarson. I think it's tragic what happened to the victims, no matter what age they are. But I'm not gonna get into that. I thought I'd talk about something else because it got me thinking about how there are gonna be some people that don't like your comics, and that's okay. And there's no reason to take it personally, and I think a lot of people don't talk about that. I do know a lot of people talk about how there will be criticism on your work and the importance of differentiating criticism and just straight up hate. But the thing is, sometimes people just don't like your work, and yeah, that's okay. I know it's very hard for people to not take it personally because they invest themselves so much in their work and they feel like their work is a part of their identity, and I can definitely understand that as a creator. But yeah, it's not a personal attack if somebody just doesn't like your comic, and you gotta learn how to live with that and not, I don't know, you can't treat everyone as if they're a hater. Sometimes they're just not a fan of the specific genre you're creating for, or they don't like your art style, which also feels very personal, but it's not. I think it's important to take criticism into mind and work on improving it. That doesn't mean you have to go back and rewrite and remake pages of your comic. It's more so take it in stride and keep their critique in mind for the future kind of thing. But if their critique bothers you enough, I guess you could go back and redo your pages and rewrite them. But I definitely don't think you should go out of your way to do that, which might be controversial in itself. There's probably people that have opinions about that. So what do I mean by criticism and hate? Or even just helpful tips. So sometimes people will point out in a work how they don't like how it doesn't have that many backgrounds, and sure, you could take that into mind and make more pages, but there's this differentiation of how, like, you meant there to be no background, so you could probably just ignore that criticism completely or take it into mind to make new pages with backgrounds. There's definitely nothing wrong about cutting corners and not doing backgrounds, but there are people that just don't like it when comics don't have backgrounds. Personally, I like making backgrounds for my comic, but yeah. And then there are the people that just tell you it looks ugly but doesn't explain why it looks ugly. And I think that more so fall along the lines of just straight up hate. And personally, I think you should probably ignore comments like that instead of overreacting, because it kind of fuels those comments to just keep coming in. But then there's also those little helpful tips where they point out how maybe you forgot to shade a panel, and it'd be pretty easy to probably go back and fix the shading. The process that I do, yeah, it's probably pretty easy. I don't know about other creators. But yeah, that would be a helpful tip. Or if you misspell a word because you're not fluent in the language, that probably would be a helpful tip. So, what do I mean by people overreacting to criticism? I'm not going to be talking about specific people, but I've definitely seen some people, when they get critiques, they treat it all as hate and then block out that hate by filtering out words from their comments or putting comments into approval stages so that way they can filter out which ones are shown on their page, basically. Or there are people that get their friends involved and they're all talking to the same hater. And it's just not very helpful, I guess, to have people gang up on other people, I guess is the way I could put it. I definitely feel like a lot of people discount the fact that some people just won't enjoy your work, and how that's okay. Like I said, I've seen tons of videos talking about how there's a difference between helpful critique and unhelpful critique. And that's important to talk about, but there's definitely a conversation there about how people just won't enjoy your comic and you shouldn't take it too personally. And I think I personally strive to take critique in mind and improve, as well as being able to filter out what's helpful and what isn't. And I definitely want to be the type of person who doesn't take it personally when I think people just don't like my comics. It does hurt when you do take it personally, because it's just so much of part of your identity, and you basically have art as your life because you're doing it every single day. But I just don't want to keep that negative comment or that unhelpful critique or the fact that somebody likes my comic as like a thing that takes up my entire day because I'm thinking about it, you know. There are definitely more important things to do than just focus on the negativity. I'm very lucky that I haven't really been exposed to that too much in my life. I've definitely had people in my life tell me they didn't like some things about my art, and yeah, it does take, I guess, a very strong will not to take it personally, because like I said, it does hurt. But I feel like since I've last heard somebody tell me they didn't like stuff about my art, I've kind of forgotten because I'm too busy working on the next thing. Another piece of good critique I think would be, an example would be if somebody tells you their characters are doing something that wasn't in line with their previous characterizations. And that's definitely a thing for like writing, but you could also argue maybe that was the author's intent because they have a plot twist later down the line, so you could then disregard that critique as unhelpful. So I suppose it just really depends on the situation, you know. It's kind of funny how one thing I read online could make me think of another thing and lead me to talk about an entirely different thing. It's like, why did my brain jump to this from this? But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about regarding negative criticism and the difference between hate and critique, as well as how it's okay that people won't like your comic. And I guess I'll end here. I will see you guys tomorrow for another day of Wakefield Comics. Again, I'm really not sure what I don't know. But they will come out eventually. Remember to work on your comics and tell me about them, because I want to read new comics. I started rereading some of my old comics that I had subscribed to, and I just haven't got around to reading them because, like I said in the last video, I've been obsessed with Breath of the Wild. So I want to read new ones, and I'm sure yours It's very nice. I don't know. I'll have to read it. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.